Hey everybody, Kneecap here. This is going to be my Holy Pally healing guide for Xavius and Emerald Nightmare. This is actually Heroic Xavius, the first time that my guild took him down to get ahead of the curve. And I'm going to kind of go over the healing aspects of this fight. There are, of course, other aspects that I might not cover in as much detail. This is specifically for healing the fight. So as you start the pull, there's not going to be a ton of damage right off the bat. I always just kind of throw a little bit of damage on the boss, put my bestow faith on the tank on the boss, and then once he starts taking the stacks of the debuff, then I'll start healing him with some holy lights, and until I have to start using flashlights. You'll see right here that I have the blades on me. You can see with a red arrow over your head, and you're going to want to take that out of the group. Um, your group might have a different way to do it than us. We personally put them off to the side, how you just saw. And so even though I'm a healer, I have to go out. Of course, the big thing with this fight is the whole dream aspect of it. And I'll kind of explain what the dream is really quick. The dream is you fall asleep and you are having basically an out-of-body experience. When you're in the dream, everything that happens in the dream is undone whenever you leave the dream. You can see down the bottom that there's a little corruption meter. In phase one, the main way to gain corruption is to get hit by the lurking tears that come out and by the corruption nova by that ad that just spawned on the screen. So as you see, I have blades again, so I'm going to run that out. Actually, I didn't get out in time, so that was actually a really bad job by me on that one. So that corrupting nova is going to hit me for a little bit of corruption there. And other than that, you're taking corruption from those abilities, but you should never get hit by the lurking tear as the healer. You're going to want your DPS that are in the dream to be soaking those lurking tears, so that way you don't take any corruption from those. If you're in the dream in phase one, which I am not, this is out of the point view of not being in the dream the first round. But if you are in the dream, you're going to be the one dispelling that debuff off the tanks. You're going to dispel it at 3 stacks, and it's going to put corruption on you. That's where the healers take their corruption, is from dispelling. So we are doing this with 3 healers, and we actually have 2 of the healers in the dream right now, and it's a shaman and a monk. So they're going to be doing all the dispels right now. So as you see, I'm just trying not to take corruption. Lurking tears get sucked up back there. Great job by our DPS. And I'm actually using as little mana as possible right now, and kind of letting the monk and shaman do everything, because when they leave the dream, they'll revert back to full mana, like they were before the fight started. So I'm using as little bit as I can, trying to get to phase 2 with a lot of mana, so I can just kind of burn through everything that I can. As you can see, I fall asleep right here as it gets pushed into phase 2. Now there's a meteor ability that everyone needs to stack up for, and that'll do a little bit of corruption to you. It's not too bad. But now that I'm in the dream, the big thing you need to know when you're healing is now feel free to use all your mana, feel free to use all your cooldowns, because everything's going to reset to pre-dream when you leave the dream. So since our first 2 healers were in the dream first, I'm the only healer in the dream right now. So I'm basically keeping up the tanks, and I'm going to do the dispels on the tanks as well. Our monk healer is still in the dream at this point because he hadn't got kicked out yet. So he's actually going to do the first dispel still while he's in there, and then I'm going to do basically everyone after that, and you'll see my corruption shoot up from that. The other thing on this phase is you'll see these ads coming from the side. They need DPS down, and they'll leave little pools on the ground, which again, the DPS that are in the dream need to be soaking those. Same as the lurking tears in phase 1. It's the DPS in the dream whose job it is to soak those pools. Obviously, in a big pinch, somebody else in the dream could soak it, but ideally you'd want the DPS. You've probably seen a few times a red line between a couple raid members. That's a bonding ability that does a bunch of damage until you get close to each other, and it breaks the bond off. As you see, Bonds of Terror move to Draxic on my screen to our rogue, and so I just move close to him, and that is taken off. We're going to keep having this meteor ability as well. You see I'm using up my mana pretty well, about at half mana, trying to use everything. I still have a bunch of my cooldowns up, and I always make sure to pop those before I am going to completely lose, either go insane or have the dream expire. You see soaking pools, you see the red line run to each other, and of course you see little swirlies on the ground as well. You're going to want to avoid those the best you can too. You see now my corruption is getting pretty high on my little bar down there. That's from dispelling the tank so much. I'm keeping it up as much as I can. I popped all my cooldowns right now because my corruption was getting close. I didn't know if I was going to go insane soon, so I just popped everything. We're also getting close to pushing into phase 3 as well. So now you can see Descent into Madness. Now, Descent into Madness isn't a bad thing. I actually start throwing some damage at this point until I see some people who really need some heals, because I'm actually going to be doing more damage even as a healer. And then, of course, we're going to pop Heroism once we get into this phase as well. And when I'm done with my madness, I simply wake up and you can see I'm back to full mana and I have all my cooldowns ready to go. So I'm ready to just go crazy again. I have like almost no corruption, and that is pretty much ideal for phase 3 to come in like this. So now look at the boss's health is fairly low, and I have all of my cooldowns. Nightmare Blades comes back in phase 3 as well. So I tried to run that out of the group the best I could. Did a fairly good job on that one. Just kind of had to guess based where my other partner was in that. There's also going to be these tentacles out, and they're going to be putting corruption as well. But that's not to worry. It's not a ton of corruption, and you can probably DPS through it. You actually want your DPS to go insane. I think I called it out about right now in Raid to go insane if you can. Take a little bit of extra corruption right now. Just go insane and do a little bit extra damage. At this point, he's almost dead, so it's pretty much a sure kill. My cooldown's popped and throwing some heals out, and we actually get to do this without anybody dying, which is a nice smooth transition there. I'm close to going Descent into Madness again. Of course, you have 20 seconds even when you're not in the dream. If I were to go insane, I would get 20 seconds still of that buffed up Descent into Madness before I was mind controlled. And as you see, we got ahead of the curve on this. And I mean, that pretty pumped up moment for our guild. We are, if you watch any of my other rating videos, we are a casual guild, so we are pretty excited to get the head of the curve done, especially because we miss multiple raids, raid nights and stuff. Being a casual guild, just having people not be able to make it. But that's pretty much how you heal the fight. That's the biggest things you need to know. It's a little bit fast paced when you're explaining it live like this, but hopefully I was able to help anybody out who might be stuck on this, whether it's looking for raid or normal or heroic. Can't help you much on mythic. It's mostly the same fight, but it's obviously a little bit more difficult than that. Other than that, good luck to everyone. Thumbs up and sub, and hope you have a good one.